Okay guys, Jason back for another statue review. As you can see, once again, in a different place here. Thanks to my most recent move into a much bigger place with more space for my statues, I'm able to actually have my entire collection up in different various areas of the house. And this is my man cave. And this is where we're gonna shoot probably most of these videos that are just a little bit quicker. Something like this that I don't actually have the box with me anymore. It's packed away in storage, but it's something that I've been wanting to review for a little while now. In any case, guys, let's get into the review of this awesome statue. I am really excited to review this statue because I don't have a lot of custom statues, if I'm being honest. A lot of the stuff that I have is licensed and it's kind of a little bit more mass produced. I find that a lot of the custom statues, I like the exclusivity of them, but they just don't hold up to a lot of the bigger studios, the licensed studios, when it comes to quality. Quality is a big thing for me, especially when it comes to the characters and how they look and their likeness to the characters that I love. But this came out of a small studio on Facebook through some collector groups that I'm in. I was lucky enough to get in on this, which is their very first statue. They're going for, at least for now, a Final Fantasy theme in the statues that they're releasing. But they're going for the characters that none of the big studios are really producing because they're just a little bit lesser known, or maybe they're just not as popular anymore. But for me, this is just like a dream come true. So since these guys announced this, Squall Leonhardt from Final Fantasy VIII was being produced, I was all in as soon as I heard about it, and I've kind of been in contact every now and then with one of the gentlemen that's involved in the studio and making these. So I've been fortunate enough to kind of have a little bit of like an inside scoop into what's being created, the process of kind of making these small independent statues. So it's been really nice. I told these guys that I'm really excited to see what they produce, but I will also keep my expectations relatively low. I know that they're a new studio, and I know that this is the first one that they produced. I don't think that we'll ever get another Squall created in 1/4, so I had to go in on it, like I said, even though it was their first project. And man, I mean, I can say this from the bottom of my heart, I am so excited to have this in my possession, and I really think that they did a good job. It's not without its flaws, but when it comes to just like hitting that nostalgia vibe for me, Final Fantasy VIII is my second favorite Final Fantasy. I know that's controversial because a lot of people just really didn't dig this after coming off such a powerhouse, which was Final Fantasy VII. But I love Final Fantasy VIII, aside from the magic junction system. No, the junction system's great, the draw system sucks. I digress. Love the characters, love the story in it. I thought that it really sort of hit, there's a romanticness to that game that I hadn't really felt in other Final Fantasies previously. And then when this showed up, again, my expectations were relatively low, and it really hit that sweet spot for me. I was expecting lower quality when it came to the portrait, to the texturing in the outfit. I think that everything really hit. So let's go through it from top to bottom, and then I'll discuss the swap outs, which there's really just only one of, and it did come with an extra little bit. Okay guys, so a little bit of background about Squall. He is the hero of Final Fantasy VIII, one of the heroes, but he's the main protagonist. Almost a bit of an asshole in the beginning, just a little bit standoffish, has his guard up, doesn't really want to connect with anyone. But as the game progresses, you understand why that is, and he really starts to take his role or his position as the leader of the group that he's in, this CD group as it's called, and sort of more of a hero. And it's good. It's a really great character arc. The portrait of this statue nailed the character. The detail is just very surprising for a first go from a very small third-party studio. I'm looking at them right now. They got the scar nice, translating something that was made in the early 90s. The models that these are based on are just very basic compared to today's standards, basic CGI. So it's difficult, obviously, to nail a likeness, and I think they did a really good job. I really do. Nice details, everything from the little earrings here to the necklace. When mine first arrived, the necklace was kind of jutting out this way, and I was like, that bugs me. Doesn't look like it's hanging naturally. Reached out to the guys, and the gentleman that I speak to over there told me just heat it up with a hair dryer, and then you can actually bend it down. And sure enough, that's what I did, and it worked. The detailing in the puffing around the jacket neck piece is nice. The texturing in the leather in his jacket, really, really well done. There's no variation in color, I don't think, from the leather in his gloves to his jacket. I mean, maybe that could have been nice, but maybe that's intentional, you know. Now, when you see the little zipper hanging here, apparently a lot of people who got this statue in got this broken. It arrived and it was broken. It's a tiny little piece. Mine miraculously somehow wasn't broken, but that is something that they have addressed and they recognized. They're really good about on their Facebook in the group saying, hey, listen guys, we know that we could have improved on this. It's our first run. We know not to make little details that can easily break like that. So that's good. The shirt, I'm just noticing right now, is almost a little bit of a different color than the white on his collar. It's kind of more of a gray. That's nice. This detail of the belts, the kind of dual belts that is a signature for Squall, is well done. It's not a separate piece. It's actually part of the mold, but it looks like it could be a separate piece, which is kind of cool. Again, the detailing in the pants looks like the same color as the jacket. There's not a ton of variation in the color on the jacket and pants, but there's subtle little, like, this is kind of nice. In the folds of the pants and the folds of the jacket where it bulges out, there's just little slight hints of a lighter color, like, you know, to reflect, to suggest the light reflecting. So it's good. It's not overdone. Again, I'm very impressed with how well a company did on their first outing. I was not expecting this. I was still gonna like it because it's Squall, and because, like I said, you're never gonna get another quarter scale Squall. It just probably will never happen. So I was prepared to just enjoy what it was, maybe put it in the back of my Final Fantasy collection. But this guy's taking front stage. He's awesome. So let's get into his gun blade, which is sort of what a lot of people know this series for, is these gun blades that basically they attack with it, and then if you pull your trigger, it basically fires out a bullet as it hits and does more damage. There's a little mechanic in the game where if you hit R2 or R1 as it hits, it gives you a little bit more damage. It was always fun. So the gun blade is awesome, really nicely detailed. The color of the steel is nice. There's some variation in the tones of the steel, really nice. You can see Squall's symbol here. I believe it's a lion because his name is Leonhardt, but nice detail there. Now the base I'm okay on. I guess they needed to have this here to rest this against, but you know, I don't really know if that's the case. Maybe over time this would have started to pull, and this magnet, which is pretty strong, they're worried that it would pull this down, but like, I think without this piece, it still would have been fine, and I think it probably would have been a better statue without that. Again, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a statue engineer, I don't know if that is necessary there, but I don't love it. I don't like that it's resting against that. I also just, the paint of these pieces is all okay. This part here actually, the sub base is, in my opinion, more interesting than these pieces up here. I think just in general, they could have gone for a different theme when it comes to the base. I find the base a little bit boring. I know that Squall is relatively uniform in his colors, so you don't want to take away from that too much, but I think he could have popped against something more interesting. When I think of Final Fantasy VIII, I think of a lot of greenery and grass and traveling over fields, and I think that maybe that type of theme might have been a little bit more interesting for this statue. Just my personal opinion, but you know, if I have a criticism, it is probably that. I do know that they're also making a Renoa to pair with her, which I'm really excited about. And again, like him, I've been able to see some of the concept that they're toying with before they produce her. So I'm excited about that statue, and she does come with a kind of a grass base, and she comes with her dog as well. So maybe they just wanted to make things different. They knew that they were going to be doing that. I don't know, but the base is something that I'm not as fond of as the rest of the statue. But generally speaking, like, honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better Squall. So what does he come with? He comes obviously with his, does his hand come out? No, I think if I remember, like, the head doesn't come off. I think more or less it's the base it's him. And then this, his gun blade and hand, but you can take this off and then he comes with his ultimate weapon. It's called the Lionheart. And I remember having to really grind to get this in the game. And there he is with his ultimate weapon. And that looks nice as well. I don't display it with that as much as that does add a nice pop of color. I display it with this just because it's more iconic. When I think of Squall, I think of this weapon, this version, sort of basic gunblade, but this does obviously look really nice as well. Finally, he comes with a little metal card, obviously from the iconic Triple Triad game in Final Fantasy VIII, a game that I really loved, but I also really hated, because if you messed it up and spread the wrong rules, it was almost impossible to get back. It was really frustrating, but it was a really fun game as well. And you could get some pretty high-end stuff if you played it a lot. So this is cool. It's a nice little extra. I would have liked to have had something to display it. It just kind of has to lie there, but I guess either they didn't think about that or maybe budget. They wanted to keep the first project as cheap as possible. So fair enough. So again, guys, first of all, really happy that a group went out there and made Squall. I don't think that that's gonna happen again in 1/4 scale. It's just not one of the most popular Final Fantasy games, but it's one that has a special place in my heart. And this statue touched that special place. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. It's just, it hit that nostalgia spot for me. I love it. I'm excited to see what these guys come up with next. I know they have a Renoa coming. I know they have a Vivi from Final Fantasy IX coming. What else? They're toying with the idea of doing a line of the little, like some of the beasts, like chocobos and stuff in Final Fantasy VII, but like a smaller scale. So I'm super supportive of these guys. They're passionate about these statues and these games. So I really kind of, I love being able to support them. But I also told them, you know, I told the guy that I speak to over there, we talked through Facebook, and I was like, I'm gonna do a review, obviously, when Squall comes in, but I'm gonna be honest. If it's not, you know, what I was expecting, I'm not gonna shit on it, but I'm gonna be honest if there are things I don't like. But thank God, this really, honestly, it came out great. It came out great, especially for a first outing with these guys. Couldn't be happier. So that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe down here. And there are other videos that will be linked up here that you can check out as well. And that's all. Until next time, later.